it's Denise. So I have been trying to get these signatures sewn in, and I got one in so far. I thought I'd turn the camera on and you guys could craft along with me if you wanted. Essentially what I did was I cut my spine piece from some file folder. I just measured the inside of the spine, and since there's only 3, it was pretty easy to figure out the measurements for it. I came down a 1/4 inch. Well, first of all, what I did was I cut the, I marked the center, and then knowing that that's an inch spine, I was able to, figure out that there's a 1/4 inch between each of those. So that's where my signatures will go. Then what I did was I took a piece of paper, the height of my signature, I folded it in half. I fold it down a 1/4 inch, and that will be my top and bottom hole. Fold it in half, that's my center hole. And then with this folded in, I take it and fold it to the center like that. And then that I know is going to be my my second and my 4th hole, okay? And then with the fold lines, I just go in here and mark it with a pencil. And then this is what I use to put inside my signatures to poke my holes. I also, where the folds are, I mark with pencil, and then that's how I lined up against the line, and then just put a little dot, and I know that's where I need to poke my holes. So, and I just covered the piece with some fabric and then put some fringe on the top and bottom just for visual effects, make it pretty inside. So I am ready to do my second. I took everything out of the signatures, all of the tags and stuff like that. Makes it a lot easier to get it in. And then what I do is I just open it up and kind of just make sure everything is aligned. Let me make sure, because I've got some like smaller pages in here. I kind of want them in the center to be centered up a little bit. So there we go. Alright. On my centerpiece. And then just make sure everything is all centered. And then stick it in this very small. You can use a thicker book. I'm sure a lot of you probably have a thicker book. Ours is very small because we live in a very small area. So, and then make sure that's lined up. I want to put my binder clips on first, so, alright. I get it open. My fingers don't want to cooperate today. Down, and see if I can get this on there. There we go. There's 2. Now everything is held together, and hey, they're arguing over hold on a second, sorry about that. They're arguing over their BALL. They're not even supposed to have it up here. Go take care of that. Alright, so I just take my folded piece of paper, stick it in the center, and then I take my little pokey tool, my awl, and I always start in the center, and then I just poke it through. And the telephone book, what little of it there is, serves as an area to keep all my pages in place and steady for me while I poke my holes, and so that I don't jam it into my mat here. Okay, so there's my second, And I mark mine with a T on the top, so I know that this is my top, and that it helps me guide to make sure I don't put my signatures in upside down. And I have done that. Get it all sewn in and then realize you got one signature that's upside down, and then got to take it out. So, all right, so I measure mine about 3.5. So there's 1, 2, 3, and about half is there. And that gives me a long enough tail end piece that if I want to cut it shorter, I can, or I can embellish it, which I think is what I'm going to do with this one. So I hope everybody had a really good weekend. Mine was pretty good. It just seemed like every time I got something started, though, something else would distract me. It was definitely a crazy squirrel weekend. Alright, so I want to put... so I can push that needle through, because I pushed on the other one, and so I'll put that on that finger. I put lotion on my hand, so everything is slickery, and I don't have any grip, it seems like. Alright, so what I do is, I start in my center hole, and I just push it through. See, it doesn't want to grip because... Alright, my fingers are slick. And I take this little tail end, and that's why I like using binder clips, because now I can clip that little piece of string, and it's probably not going to work for me now because I'm on camera, but normally I can just pop it open and slip it under there. Alright, there we go. And it will hold my string in place for me. Alright, so I'll pull that, and then I'm going to go in through my spine. Alright, and then just pull it a little tight, keep it in place. Okay, then I'm going to go, this is my top, so I'm going to go 2 holes down, or my second from the top, back in through there, and then find my hole, which should be right about there. And sometimes it's hard to see, and you gotta pull it in to kind of get right where it's gotta go. And this can be tricky. Alright, I'm gonna go through. That's where the hole is. Just gotta make sure I don't want to open it too much, because then you separate your pages and it can end up making your hole somewhere else you don't want it to be. So, alright. And I have a pair of pliers just in case. There we go. Alright, pull that tight. And then I'm going to go up through my top hole. And those of you who have done these before know it can go smooth or it can go rough. So there we go. But it is important to try and make sure that you line it where you've marked everything, because otherwise you could end up with one signature that sits too much higher than the other one. So it's important that you mark it very well and that you stick with those markings. Okay, now I'm going to go back through that second hole from the top. And hopefully we can get it in there. Sorry, I have to pick it up and make sure that it goes through, because it's, for some reason this hole is, come on, I just don't want to poke a hole through any of the other pages in there, which is you can do very easily if you don't take your time to do it. Okay. Pull this tight. And I am using a wax thread on this one, a little bit heavier on here. Okay, so then I'm going to go to my 4th hole down, which is my second to the last. In here. And poke it right through the hole. Get out of there. Okay. And then through my bottom hole. Alright. This one should be fairly easy to find since it's not fabric covered. What do you think? Stinky. You should go right through. And I might have to I don't think I put my binder clip down far enough, so I'm going to have to search for it here. The hole. Well, goodness gracious. I think that's the problem there is it's there it goes. There we go. Like I said, you just got to take your time and it's like, you know, if you're hand stitching something or hand sewing something, you want to take your time if you want it to come out nice, you know. So, alright, pull that out. Make sure that those are okay. Then I'm going to go back through that second to the bottom, so the 4th hole down, back through that hole. See, that one went really nice and smooth. Okay, and then back through my center. And why are you not catching my center? This center signature is a really thick paper, so I got to make sure that I catch it just right. Otherwise, it may tear through, and I do not want that to happen. Okay, where are we at? Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna make sure that it comes out on the opposite side that the thread went in. Okay. Alright. And now I should be able to take the binder clips off here. And I'm just going to pull it tight, but I'm not going to pull it so tight that it rips the paper. I just want to make sure that it's taut. And with this wax thread, it's a much thicker thread, so you got to be careful that you don't want it too tight, otherwise it will rip your signature pages. So, and then I just come down to the bottom of the page. You can go longer if you want. In fact, I may go longer just because I might want to put something that dangles from the bottom. I haven't decided yet, but now I can if I want, or I can clip them up later. Alright, that's 2 in. 1 more to go. Yay! Okay. So, last little signature. Put this up here. Yeah, my son's not feeling too good today. We got up and we went into Sedalia and had to go, you know, the weekly trip to Wally World. And then we went down to we went to go look at a thrift store, but it was not open because of the weather, because it was so cold. A lot of people stayed in because it's like, I think it was like 14 degrees today. And I know some places are much colder, but 14 degrees, when you're talking about, you know, older shop owners, they don't like coming out of their house. So, and I don't blame them. Okay, let me get myself a piece of string ready here. 1, 2, 3, and about half. Alright. But yeah, you know, so the thrift store, and it's a fairly new one that just opened, was not open today. She's normally open, but she didn't come in today. So we ended up going about a block further down and found an antique store, and we were in there, and I wasn't finding anything in there. And then my son, even though he's sick, he spots stuff sometimes. And he's really good at it. So I like taking him. But he found all the linen and all the doilies tucked, and some buttons tucked away. They were underneath another box of other sewing notion stuff, and it was up underneath back there. So I was like, yes, there we go. Grab a couple binder clips here. Check that side there, make sure everything's tight in there. Okay, even that puppy up and poke away. I used to, before I got this little sewing kit here, or this little bookbinding kit, used to use a, let me show you. I mean, you can almost use any little tool that has a poke on it. You know, like, you know how you can find like those old dental tools and stuff. And this one's like a Cricut poke out tool. And I used to use it. I still use it for other stuff, but if you don't have like an awl to do. Or you can even use the needle and do the same thing. So, alright, last signature in. Don't want to lose that. That's my closure ribbon. Alright, top, and top. Alright. Yeah, I was watching a video on Crafty Cat, my friend Amy. Hi, Amy. she did this really cute sewing pocket, you know. I was going to grab it. Somebody beat me to it. That's okay. But she did it. It was so cute. Because everything was like sewing notion. And I thought, how adorable. That was so cute. How she did. And she really does. She makes those little pocket. And they are cute. And she put like a little mini, like a little 2-signature journal in there. And I thought that was just so sweet. She makes the cutest little things. Yes, she does. Okay, pull that out. So we went through our center, went through the center. Going to go through second down from the bottom. And I know a lot of you that probably watch my channel, this is boring to you because you guys do this all the time. But I do have a couple subbies that are kind of new or just starting out, so, you know. And there are, I will tell you guys, if you are new to this, there are tons of people that show you, and they'll show you different methods to do and different stitching you can do. A few of them have some different methods on how they mark their spines and all that stuff. So I just do it this way because it works for me. So, you know, you typically stay with what you're good at, right? So, uh-oh, I need to take this out because I just noticed the pages start to come apart, so I need to reinforce that before we even sew that in. Oh yes, because that would be a disaster, would it not? That would be disastrous to get that in there and then it rip apart like that. Oh no. No, no, no. So, let me pull that back through. So we'll fix that while I'm here. But it's good that you guys get to see this kind of thing because, you know, you don't want this to happen in your journal if you're putting it together because, you know, yeah, you can take it all apart later and sew it in, but once you glue that spine in there, no. You're going to have to pretty much take the whole thing apart. Okay, so what I want to do is find a little piece of washi here. So let me grab some washi. Let me find some washi that matches and I'll be right back. I think this one might work. I think this one's a brand new one. I don't think I used it. Yeah, I have. Okay. Normally when I buy washi, I have little containers that are washi like dispensers, but sometimes I get additional. These are like a smaller tube, so they don't fit right in between, so I just keep them in the original boxes. Okay, so now you get to see what to do if, you know, you have an older book that you want to use as a center. You make sure you reinforce it. Make sure I get all this back in place again. That's top, right? Oh. Alright, see how I reinforced these ones and this one? So, and that's perfectly fine to do. It actually will help reinforce your pages so you don't get any tearing and stuff. And you could literally do it with every single page if you wanted. Okay, so before I binder clip that, I want to make sure. So, how do I want to do this? Okay. shifted. So, put that one in there. And because I don't want a double set of holes, so I know. Dirt, it means dirt. Let's poke our holes in this one and then we can get everything lined back up. But because it's just one page, so. Sure that center one is lined up. If that center one's lined up, everything else should line up. So there we go. And I'm going to leave my needle in there. And now I'm going to double check the other holes. Alright, so now we're realigned back up. So minor setback, but we got it fixed before it became a major disaster, right? I'll be glad to get this done because it seems like it's taken forever, and I think a lot of it, like I said, I can normally crank this out much quicker, you know, when you're kind of in your zone and you're not stopping to talk and do all that stuff. And so, okay, there is my top. This is my top. All right. And, you know, of course, I sat down earlier today and was thinking about it. Gee, here it is, like the, what, 7th or 8th video. You figure half an hour to 45 minutes a piece, and then then you're looking at, you know, 30 minutes to an hour to upload it, you know, edit and upload it and do all that stuff. So, wow. It's taken quite a long time just because, you know, doing the video or whatever. So it is a little bit lengthier process doing it this way than what I would normally do, but that's okay. Alright, so came through our center, second to the top. And I can get it caught. Let's move this out of the way. I can get it caught in there. Or not caught, but pushed right through there, no problem. So, alright. Pull it. And then back through our top hole. And then down to the 4th hole down. See, if I had done it, pushed it through this hole, it would have, it offsets the signature. So then your signatures don't lay nice and even in there. And some people like that uneven, you know. Okay. There we go. Sometimes you gotta just, like I said, take your time and get it through. There we go. Pull it a little tight. And then back through the fourth down, or the second to the last hole again. And that's why it's important to use a good sturdy needle. I like this one because it's got a little bit bigger. I normally have a little one that's a little bit shorter, but for this one I thought to be able to see it on the camera, I'd use a longer one. So, and but you want to make sure you use a nice thick heavy duty one, because you can bend your needles pushing through here, depending on how thick your signatures are too. So. Fingers don't want to work today. Okay, and then I remember I put it on the opposite side that it went in. And then I'm just going to give it a little tug. Take out my binder clips. Yeah, but like I said, it seems like everybody's getting sick. And I just hope I'm not. I mean, earlier today I was kind of feeling like, you know, frump-a-dump. And then I finally got a second wind and then felt, you know, much better. But I cut this one a little bit shorter because this one I won't dangle anything off the bottom. I won't dangle anything from the bottom on this one. But everybody seems to be getting sick. I don't know if it's like the weather changing so much or what it is. I don't know. But so those are my signatures sewn in. Okay. Alright, so let me clean up a little bit and then I'll move on to what I'm going to do next, which is glue it into the journal cover itself. Okay, so I cleaned up my desk a little bit, and so we've got all three, or I have all three signatures sewn in. Okay. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Alright, and here is remember the cover I slow stitched. So this is where that's going on, and I'm going to make a ribbon closure for it. So what I want to do is run the ribbon all the way across, so that way, because if I slice it, if I cut a piece here and put it here and here, I don't know, I'm always afraid that a part of it'll fall off or come loose or come out or rip. So alright, so I'm going to measure this in half and lay it down. If I can get it laid down in here, darn it. Okay. So, let me find my halfway mark here. Alright, so about 2.5, so it's probably going to come up just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to just put a little tack of glue back here, just to kind of keep it in place, because it will get glued with the signature itself. Because I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. Okay, 5.5. Actually, I think that might need to come down a little bit longer. 2.5, 2.25. Well, no, just a little bit. There we go. I don't know, I'm sometimes funny about the symmetrics of stuff, you know, I mean, alright, so, okay, So here comes the fun part. Here's my top. Make sure that is my top. That would stink, huh? Get through and make sure all the signatures are sewn in right side up, and then you put them in upside down. That would not be good. So always check it. And then I am going to Fabri-Tac that all down into place. Alright. So this might be a little difficult because normally I hold it really close to me. Okay. Make sure that that's lined up there where I want it. Okay. And I have a little book, like a little black block, but I have not been able to find it. I don't know what I did with it. And normally that is what I use to see it come up just a little bit. Push down my spine into there. And I will glue the rest of the ribbon down when I, before I put my, tap in my end pages there, my cover pages. Any type of, I mean, there's so many different ways to do your spine. You know, they got hollow and squared and the curved and all that stuff. So there's different methods and a lot of different other crafters that have videos on it. And this is not, like I said, a tutorial. This is just a craft with me. So whatever you're doing, you know, crafting. If you're like me, sometimes I like, you know, I put it on one particular person that maybe I want to catch up on their videos, and I'll turn it on and watch it while I'm crafting away. So, but I wanted my spine to, I didn't want it hollow. I want it straight to the back of the book. And I can tell that the glue is not even drying yet because that Fabri-Tac is cold. And I can actually feel it's cool all the way through the spine. I am going to let this dry, and then once it's dry, I'm going to come back and do my tap in. Hey guys, okay, I'm pretty sure this is dry. I waited a couple hours, and I'm ready to tap in my end pages here. And I think what I want to do is just tack this ribbon down real quick, just so it doesn't shift when I put the glue on the back of the tap-in page. So just going to put a little bead in there, just to help hold it nice and taut in place. Not too tight though. Don't want to rip it because that's sari silk. Or sari silk, or however you want to pronounce it. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, my son and I went to an antique store. I don't typically like to go to the antique stores because they're expensive. We popped in there, and then found a thrift store, you know. Or we went to the thrift store and it wasn't open, so we ended up going to an antique store. And my son found all that wonderful stuff, and he also found a big box of old patterns. Of course, I think they wanted too much for him, but I did find one that I really liked, and I picked it up. I tried talking the guy down a little bit, but he was not going to budge. Of course, he doesn't own the shop, so I have to go back in there a day when the owner's in there and see if I can talk her down a little bit on some of that stuff. Because I'd love to pick it up and be able to pass it along, because I do know sometimes some people don't have access to certain things, or where they do, it's very expensive, and it is that way here for me for some things. That's why a lot of times I'll go and do the live sales, because I can get it much cheaper through that. Okay, so I am ready to tap this in, and I got 2 of the pretty paper that I printed it on that Hammer Mill 60-pound weight paper, which is what the signatures are made out of. And let's see, what I want to do is bring it down enough and try and center it. And then that is where it's going to crease, where it comes in and out. So I'm just going to kind of finger crease it for now. And let's see. And that should come out really well, actually. I think I might want to bring it in just a little bit more. Okay. Alright. And I don't do both the same, because sometimes you know, you get those little fractions, those 1/16ths of an inch, and sometimes it can be off on one side or the other. So I don't measure both of them together and fold them. I do them separately based on how it's going to fit in the actual journal. Okay. Pretty little end page, I think. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue all this back here. And then once I get it set in place, I am going to, so I don't cover the lace, I left, when I put this on there, I knew this was going to be my first signature, so I sewed it about 1/4 of an inch up so that I can lay glue down in here to tap in my page. So it'll glue to that. It won't be completely glued to the front of it, but it'll be an actual, like, first page, front page. So alright. And I am just going to tap it and pull that forward just a little bit. I love that uneven stitch look, you know, because I think it kind of makes the book look like it's old and it's been stretched apart for, you know, for years and years and years. I don't know, I think it just adds to the journal. So now I've got my front page. Okay. Going to press my paper in there. Okay. Make sure that sets in that glue and gets tacky and tacks on there and stays in place. I mean, it's pretty easy. It's not hard to tap in paper, you know, tap in your front and back paper. And I prefer to do it this way. And that's just personal preference. Some people just put a piece that runs into and connects to the spine itself, which is fine. And you can also do it that way. Like if you have a nice decorative piece, but you don't have enough to do two, you know, to do like this whole piece. Like, especially if you're using a bigger book, you can certainly do that. So that way you can still use your decorative paper in there. But this is a 5x5 book, so okay, and see, it's right there at the seam, and alright, so now I can close that side and put that there, and work on the other side and make sure my paper is going the right direction here. Remember what I was saying about how, you know, sometimes your front and back covers can be off just by 1/8 of an inch, and I can tell you let's see how it lines up here. It is different, so. But once you get it tapped in, sometimes, once you crease it in here, it'll, see, it dropped it down, so it fit in here just where I wanted it to, so that's a good thing. I want it to line up with my signatures. And, alright. I need something to pull that up with. And, so he was looking at all, like, the old games and stuff like that, and he found an old viewfinder, like not the red ones but the old black ones, and they had like even smaller like the little cartridge, you know, the old viewfinders that were like red and the cartridges are like this big. These ones were even smaller, but even those were expensive. I was like, no. Don't think so. And this has really been fun, and thanks, you know, for you guys hanging out, you know, and just checking it out and watching, and hopefully you guys been doing some crafting along, or, you know, doing all this kind of stuff yourself, too. Because I think even if you've never done them before, you're going to get hooked. I did. I got hooked. You know, I started doing them, like prayer books and Bible study books, and I just got hooked. I just kept going and going, trying different stuff, you know. Okay, there we go. And that's her. I gotta wait for everything to dry up on it, but, and let's see, do I want to, wow, I'm waiting for it to dry. I don't have to wait, and then replug. So, I'm thinking what I might want to do is go ahead and put this in here. Then that way I can close it, and I love how she did that little fringe at the top, so it'll stick out from the top right there. But I think I want to take the tags out while so that nothing gets smashed in there or glued. But I need to also make sure, though, that I've got, it doesn't extend too far out from the top either, so that was silly taking them out. Got ahead of myself. I'm so eager to get it finished. Okay. So, I think if we put the pocket right about there in the center, and then the tag doesn't come out the top, but the fringe does, and that's what I like. So, I think we're going to put it there. This is that tag that I had my friend Amy, the Crafty Cat I commissioned her to make for this journal. There we go. And I think I'm going to leave those tags out for now and let everything dry up. Let me take these out. Probably give it like 10-20 minutes and then I'll put them all back in there and then close it up. But there she is. Like I said, I just got to do some final embellishing on it and let it sit overnight and she'll be ready to go. Do a little closure here. There we go. See? Of course I'll do the bow really nice and stuff like that, but that's her all sewn together. Birds and butterflies and flowers and dragonflies in there. Pretty, huh? I love it. I love it. So, I think it came out really good. Anyway, hey, yeah, I wanted to show you guys, too, that pattern I was talking about. So, look at this thing. So, I put it in a plastic bag because it's kind of, put this up here, coming apart, but this is one of those old Annie Adams patterns, and I think they came out of like New York. Yeah, New York. And it has they used to mail you the patterns. You know, you'd order them from a catalog and they would come in an envelope mailed to you, and the postage on it was 1 penny. 1 penny. But I couldn't find the stamp on it, like the date stamp is missing on it. But, I mean, it's kind of coming apart, but I was thinking I could probably cut this portion out and use it as a tag or something, but the pattern in here is an Annie Adams original. And it's size 12 to 20. So this was, you know, a little bit larger, but it's got all the pattern pieces in it, and it was a used pattern because they're all the pieces are cut. So, and then look at, I mean, I can only venture to say the age. I would say it's probably 50s, just based upon the style of the dress, but I just thought that was so cool that it was a penny to mail it, you know, a penny. I thought that was cool. But anyhow, thanks for hanging out, guys, and when I get all of this done, I will do a flip through and let you know when it is going into the Etsy, so into my shop. And once again, I appreciate all of you guys for hanging out with me, crafting along, leaving all your wonderful comments. They're so encouraging, and you guys are the best. I love y'all. Hugs. Mwah. Bye-bye.